Welcome back to Columbus Brick by Brick, the podcast where we uncover the people, projects, and ideas shaping the future of our city, one conversation at a time. I'm your host, Jon Styer, broker and owner of Styer Hospitality Co., the premier management company for furnished short and midterm rentals in Columbus, Ohio, helping investors leverage their properties to maximize cash flow and housing guests for both short and extended furnished stays. Each week, we sit down with the entrepreneurs, innovators, and community builders who are influencing the landscape of Columbus, literally and figuratively. Today's guest is someone whose story embodies the essence of building something meaningful from the ground up. We're joined by Dave Payerchin, real estate investor, educator, and one of the most recognizable voices in the Columbus investment community. Dave's journey is incredible, from starting out as a telemarketer to raising over $50 million in private capital, building a powerhouse rental portfolio, and becoming a go-to resource for the investors across the country. In our conversation today, we'll dig into the mindset shift that changed everything for Dave, how he earned trust long before he had resources of his own, and why he believes Columbus is one of the most resilient rental markets in America. We'll talk about the toughest setbacks, the philosophies that keep him centered, the realities of scaling responsibly, and the role that partnership, personal growth, and community play in long-term success. We'll also get into the myths he hears from new investors, how he navigates today's shifting market conditions, and toward the end, what kind of real estate empire he'd build if there were absolutely no constraints. It's a conversation full of insight, honesty, and the kind of practical wisdom that investors at any stage can learn from. Let's get into it. Well, Dave, for those in our audience who don't know you, I want to say thank you for being here. If you could just talk to us for a minute, for those who are first hearing your name or haven't been introduced to who you are and what you do, talk to us a little bit about how you introduce the work that you do here in Columbus and the journey that got you here.
First off, yes, thank you for having me. My name is Dave Payerchin. I am a real estate investor, first and foremost. I'm a real estate coach. On the investment side, I do a lot of wholesaling of real estate and a lot of novations. And some of the listeners might not know what that is, but it's essentially wholesaling real estate on steroids. It's the same thing. A lot of wholesaling, a lot of novations, and I'm the founder of the CREAM Group, which is a Facebook group. Stands for Columbus Real Estate and Money. It is the largest networking group for real estate professionals, service providers, and vendors in Central Ohio. I'm proud of that. We can talk about how that all started because there's a lot of Facebook groups out there, as everyone knows. But what I'm most proud of is not so much the number of people there, even though it is the biggest, but the engagement is literally 4x, even our closest group with similar numbers of members. The engagement's through the roof, and the amount of connections that are being made there. I mean, the stories that I hear, people creating these alignments and generating revenue and creating opportunities with each other. That's like really what juices me.
Mm-hmm. I would love to hear about the journey of how you got into real estate and where you've gotten from then to now. And part of that is the CREAM. So interested to hear about that as well.
So I was thinking about this on my way over, and I'm going to share with you a story. My story, and just give a snippet. I've never shared this on any podcast ever before. So I'm from Cleveland, Ohio originally, and I graduated high school. I was still 17, wasn't even 18 years old yet, and I packed up my things and I moved all the way out to Arizona by myself for a construction job. But had no college sites or goals or anything like that. I just wanted to get out. I wanted to get out and do something, and really, I had a burning desire to be successful. So I had this opportunity to go do construction in Arizona. And my plan was to do essentially construction by day. And I wanted to get a side job at night. So I was in Arizona by myself, didn't even have a car. Wow. I had rollerblades. So I'm rollerblading. Nice. Have you been to Phoenix before?
I have.
Are you familiar with the Biltmore area of Phoenix? East Phoenix, real nice. Camelback Road, you probably heard of.
It's been a while.
I'm rollerblading around, and out of nowhere, I hear my name being called. You know how it is. Your name gets called. Pavlov's dogs, right? You perk up. So, Dave, I'm looking around. I'm like, wait, I've been here for 3 weeks. I don't know anyone here. Dave, I look, who is it? It's a girl that I sat next to who was an exchange student from Arizona in my house or in my class.
Oh, wow.
Back up in Cleveland for a typewriting class or a keyboard class. But she was just there for a month or two. She recognized me, saw me. Her name was Aisha Barrett. So if she's ever there, I've never talked to her after this. This changed my life, though.
Okay.
Right? So if you're there, Aisha, you happen to hear this, please look me up. We'll have a coffee.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, I'm doing construction. I'm looking for another job, though. I want to make money. I want to go out on my own. I was living with this contractor guy, just like staying in a room in a house. And she said, well, go work at MCI WorldCom. They'll hire anybody. So I kind of knew what MCI was, like phones or something. And I thought I was going to be like selling cell phones behind a counter. So I go to this MCI place. Turns out to be a massive call center because this is in the year 2000, in 2001. And they were still like selling long distance telemarketing. So I got hired by MCI WorldCom to be a telemarketer. I'm 19 years old or 18, 19 at this time. And I became in the top 10% in the country for telemarketing.
Okay.
So I had a knack for phone sales. Then I did away with the construction. I don't need this anymore. I got into sales and I didn't have any friends and I wasn't old enough to drink or go to bars or anything like that. So I started going to bookstores. And I'm working at MCI and I want to improve my sales skills. And the very first book I ever read was Joe Girard, How to Be the Greatest Salesman in the World. He holds the world record for car sales. And at any bookstore, you got all the sales books, personal development, but then right next to everything is the real estate books. And it's like how to retire young and retire rich. And I'm like, boom, rich dad, poor dad.
Pick that up.
Jumped right in. I was obsessed with real estate. I was ordering old courses like Carlton Sheets. Do you even know what that is?
I've heard of Carlton Sheets.
This is old school.
Yeah.
We're going back now, but I bought it all and was studying real estate. And I worked in telemarketing jobs until I was 22. And then I went full time. I had $14,000 saved up and just started doing direct mail. I started writing out my own handwritten envelopes. And I almost ran out of cash and I got my first 2 wholesale deals. And, the year then was 2005. The real estate market was surging because they were doing the ninja loans, if you remember. No income, no job, no assets. It was just the real estate bubble.
Right.
The great financial crisis, the big short.
Crash.
This is when it was all the lead up to the crash. So I thought I was the bee's knees, man. I thought I was the shit, right? I just thought I was amazing. Ego. I'm a young kid.
Right.
I've never had any money in my life. And I made $180,000 in my first year.
Wow.
I didn't know had zero financial literacy. So I bought an Audi and I bought a Mustang and I bought a house that I couldn't afford and I just racked up all this debt. The bubble imploded in 07, 08 and I went down with it completely bankrupt.
Yeah.
Now I'm back to waiting tables. Waited tables for a while, spent a little time in California, was just kind of trying to find my way. And then I met my current business partner, who's RJ Pepino, and I met him out in California at a real estate seminar kind of thing, right? So I was still kind of engaged in the real estate education. And he was in Ohio. I said I'm from Ohio originally. And we decided to start wholesaling properties together. So I moved back to Ohio in 2013, and I've been here ever since.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great run-up. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Very interesting story, too.
Crazy, right?
You bumped into someone that you knew and it just changed your life.
It's that law of attraction kind of thing.
Yeah.
But that got me into sales. The best thing that she did for me was get me into sales. I was going to go down this path of construction, and I thought about going down the path of like being a paramedic or a fireman. That was kind of in my sights until I found sales, and the rest is history.
And so would you say that was the pivotal moment that changed your life? I mean, do you think that, or was there another moment that you can remember, maybe a second moment that took you from that sales telemarketing space into successful real estate? Maybe once you moved back to Columbus.
The biggest pivotal moment, I think finding sales was key. I think, I used to leave my sales job, telemarketing, early so I can attend little RIA meetings, Real Estate Investor Association. I just got into this real estate thing. I think getting my first deal ever was probably, I remember the guy, his name was Robin. He was this like greedy, weird old seller who was selling his mom's house. Super sketchy. Like thinking back, like meeting this guy at this restaurant, signing this contract, I was like shaking like a leaf. I was so nervous. But when I actually, got my first deal, I think it was $5,400 all I made, but that didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was the belief I can do this.
You accomplished.
And then I just was off to the races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you. In doing some research for what to talk to you about and questions, I found out that you have experience in capital raising. You raised more than $50 million in private capital to build your portfolio. How did you convince people to trust you early on? You came from no experience. You were good at sales, but you had little money or credit. What was that like?
Phenomenal. I didn't have credit. I came from bankruptcy. So I started to raise money out of necessity because I couldn't even qualify for bank financing.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot about different capital structures, and I think you can appreciate this, and hopefully some of your listeners can too as well. When it comes to raising money in real estate, I learned that the type of structure I was doing, which is a first position note and mortgage against one single asset, one lender, one borrower, that's me, and then one asset as collateral. It's easy to underwrite. A single family home is very easy to underwrite. It's not like a giant apartment building that, you have to put a whole presentation in front of some investor. They don't know what they're looking at. It's kind of weird. You're working depreciation. You're working in tax benefit. It's like this harder, it's this more complicated capital raise. So I learned and figured out, because I saw a lot of people get taken by these like crazy syndications. There's a ton of syndications blowing up. We could do a whole nother podcast on that right now. But a lot of my investors, they're grateful that they stuck with me because a lot of this like more complicated capital raising is kind of imploding all around us actually right now. But I learned early on that raising money on single family assets where it's collateralized by one single thing, one lender, one borrower, I'm not commingling any funds. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't need to file for the SEC if I'm just raising from one person. I learned all this, right? There's been influential people and mentors who kind of showed me the way. Of course, I can name a whole handful of them. But I learned and I was taught that this is the easiest money to raise is against a single asset.
Right.
So
where
the pitch was natural.
And just feel comfortable.
Yeah. And a lot of people I had relationships because I have never screwed anyone over, ever. That's a huge thing. And I carry that with me to this day. Yeah. There's been 100 times I'm working out a payoff for a lender or somebody, and they don't know. I mean, I could be like, yeah, it's $1,000, scraping off the top. I've never, ever once done that. I've just always done the right thing, even when, I've paid other people before I paid myself. And that is earned. A reputation is earned completely. But in the early days, what the best thing to do if somebody's a new real estate investor and they're looking to raise money, seek out other real estate people because they understand it. Yeah. And somebody who's already well off in real estate, they meet a young, hungry individual. Sure, you might be giving up 50% of the equity. We didn't talk about the terms. When I first started out, John, I'm giving up 50% of the equity, 13% and 2 points. Yeah. So, I mean, it's nose bleeding interest, but it got me in the game. Yeah. That was the biggest
experience and got you the work to work on building that reputation.
Yes. Here's the advice for anyone listening. You got to pay to play. Get in the game. Even if you're giving up 50% plus interest, so maybe you're only keeping 30% of the profit, 30% of something is better than 0% of nothing.
Exactly.
And if you can build a track record, you could go raise cheaper money, but be willing to pay to play in the early days.
Perfect. And if we can transition into more of your philosophy, because that's great to hear and I'm enjoying it. I want to dig deeper into your philosophy with the single family rental or as an asset, as a vehicle for investing. Let's talk about single family real estate investing strategies and philosophies locally here in Columbus.
100%.
And what you've learned over your experience in your time.
I have learned that single family assets are arguably have the most I don't know if this is the right word, but like intrinsic value. There's the most use. There's the most exit strategies for a single family property. Yep. Right? Think about a retail store or something. You got one thing you can do with this thing. With a single family home, you could rent it. You can live there yourself. There's numerous ways you can creatively sell it. Right? I believe building a portfolio of single family rentals can allow you to stay somewhat liquid as well. So instead of owning a 100-unit apartment building, if you own 100 single-family units, you know how it is in business. Sometimes there's something called cash crunches. Anyone who hasn't been through some tough times, sometimes you got to pair properties off. You need to create liquidity in your business. You can pair off 20 houses, create some liquidity. You still own the 80, go move things around. You can't do that with a 100-unit building.
No.
You can't pair off just a certain amount of units or something like that. So I believe you have the most flexibility. I believe single-family assets are the easiest to underwrite. If you're raising capital, anyone can go to Zillow. It's a $200K on Zillow, and you're lending me $140 on it. You're sleeping decent at night. You don't need to be this mathematical investing genius to figure out cap rates and things like that. And there's the most supply. There's the most choices to get a hold of. If you're especially getting in the game, or even if you're just not getting in the game, just looking to acquire wealth, I believe single family assets for those reasons, and I could probably think of more. And you got the best financing. You got 30-year long-term financing.
Yep.
Yes. So many reasons I'm most bullish on the single family asset class.
Let me ask you, as you build a portfolio, was it 100% single family, or was it the majority single family, or did you just take any multifamily deals as they came to you? How did that work for you?
I've primarily only done single family in small apartments, 1 to 4 units, some 2 to 4.
Still residential.
Residential real estate is my expertise. Now, I was part of a big partnership, and this is just not even worth getting into, but I was a partner in this big partnership that imploded, actually. And but there was some multifamily in there, but I have a very limited experience when it comes to the multifamily stuff.
Well, as someone who has done a lot and experienced a lot, I'm sure there were some setbacks or some roadblocks that you experienced. What was the toughest failure or setback that you have experienced in your real estate journey, and what did it teach you?
Well, this is actually the last 24 months. I have liquidated probably 120 assets, just to pay lenders back and do things like this. I took a massive hit from a contractor for $174,000. My liquidity got evaporated. And that's my own fault. I take full responsibility for it. Everybody listening, make sure it's good to be trusting, but make sure you're verifying. And somebody can steal from you in small chunks, and it's just like you never really know until you start to pay attention. And that was big. And then this big partnership I was a part of, another 130 of my liquidity was evaporated, got tight. And thank God I had single family assets. Here we go. So sometimes when you're in a pinch, you can pair these things off. And I'm grateful to say I've paid off, including debt, right? Or $14.5 million in the last 24 months.
Wow.
I've paid off $14.5 million. I still got about $1 million that I'm working on paying, but I have a clear path. I've never had more light at the end of the tunnel that I feel right now. It's so freeing to me.
Good for you.
But it's been tough, man. The last 2 years have been extremely tough due to my own mistakes. And the biggest lesson is you got to stay checked in.
Yeah.
I was checked out, John. I was completely checked out. 3 years ago,
what do you think led to that?
Drinking. Yeah, that's right. No, I was checked out because had an entitlement mentality. Yeah, it's like, oh, look at me, I'm Mr. Hotshot. It's ego.
And it sounds like you've had like a roller coaster ride throughout your career with that. And now sitting here across from you right now, I don't get that vibe of someone who is, has a major ego. You're sitting here saying, hey, I screwed up.
I'm a changed man.
Yeah.
I truly am.
Is that 24 months, that last 24 months, what changed you, do you think?
Yeah, I quit drinking over 3 years ago. But no, having children was the big thing, the eye-opening experience. I can tell you this, because I was drinking like every day.
Okay.
And I was taking a lot of Adderall too. And I was the kind of person where if I'm drinking, I'll pretty much do any drug that's in front of me. I have a massive addictive personality. I like to share it this way. There's 2 kinds of people in this world. You have switches and you have dials. A dial is what 90% of the population is. They'll have a glass of wine with dinner. They'll go home, have a productive night, wake up in the morning and do a podcast. It's perfectly fine. They dial up a little good feeling and they dial it back down. A switch, on the other hand, is once they introduce external chemicals to their chemical makeup, the switch gets flipped and it's just off to the races. That is me, 1,000%. And it's never not been this way.
Yeah.
So it's a curse if applied to destructive behavior, but it's the biggest blessing in the world if you can hone this energy, which I have done, right? And it comes from, and I'm just putting it all into personal development, creating relationships. This is how we met. We did some networking and whatnot. Here I am today, right?
Yeah.
So I'm applying this switch energy to all things positive.
And you also, before we started, was speaking about fatherhood.
Yes.
And how you're applying that to yourself and the relationship that you're having with your spouse and with
Correct.
your kids.
Correct. Yeah. So I look at this as the core four. And I got this from a guy, Sean Whalen. So if he ever gets to hear this, I got this from you. Give him some credit. He's got a company. It's Lions versus Sheep or something like that.
Okay.
Be a lion, not a sheep. I love that attitude, right? But he talks about the core four. And the first top of it is just the mindset / spirituality. Then you got your health. Then you got your relationships. Then you got your business and finance, right? That's basically encompasses our lives.
Yeah.
What I have done is take his core four and create a hierarchy of this core four. So I believe the very top of the totem pole is your mindset / connection to whatever it is for you, connection to above, right? And I believe the most important journey that we should do, the most important task of every day is listening to your conscience, listen to your intuition, listen to that inner voice, right? That is your higher calling. That is your higher self calling you to be the best version of yourself. We must pay attention to that first and foremost. How do you know when you're out of alignment? You feel like crap. You feel shame. You feel guilt. You feel embarrassment. You feel icky. Pay attention to that feeling and remove all things from your life that cause any amount of shame, guilt, regret, or embarrassment. It's not a world of addition. Everybody thinks they need to sign up for the next thing or introduce the next supplement, add this next service, add this next thing to your life, and then I will be fulfilled. No, start with just removing all of the things.
All the negative things.
All of the negative things. And you already are enough. You already are this thing, whatever it is that you're being called to be. You are already it. Just take away the things that are not in alignment with that. Second most important thing is your health. If you're not healthy and you don't take care of yourself, it's going to affect your relationships. So make health a priority. When it comes to relationships, I believe the most important relationship is obviously to above or whatever higher power you feel that connection to. Second most relationship is to your spouse, because if you can't keep it together with your spouse, it's going to bleed into your kids. It's going to actually cause trauma in the kids. So my wife and I put a big emphasis. We call it a covenant. It's not even a relationship. It is a covenant, right? And as a man, I'm going to encourage every man out there, especially, I can only speak for men because I can only relate to you. No looking at women online, no looking at anything. That's a big thing. We all have these cell phones. Don't look at women's profiles. That's considered cheating. I'm so intense, right? I'm a switch, but remove all of that negative distraction, because that's a vice in of itself. I mean, do you feel great about doing it? No. Well, that means it's out of alignment with your higher self. Remove any porn, remove any, even looking at profiles and things like that. It's very important to protect that relationship, that sanctity of that covenant that we're creating. And then finally, if you got all that lined up, John, you're living your highest self, your mindset's there, right? You've removed the vices, this instant gratification that causes the shame and the regret. You got your health together. You're feeling pretty good about your health, and you're taking daily action towards being the best version of yourself. You're taking care of that covenant with your spouse. Your business is going to take care of itself. You're going to be vibing so high. You're going to attract everything. Right? You would want to talk about raising money. Bro, I'll probably get 2 phone calls today from this podcast or whatever. People want to do business. This is how we met. And it's you put yourself out there. You work on yourself first. Be the best version of yourself, but then have the courage to share it with the world. Yeah. You can't just stay home every day and be working on yourself. Share your gifts. Share yourself with the world, and all the opportunities will then come to you.
Yeah. I agree with you completely. It's important to center yourself and evaluate and pull yourself back to center. You mentioned a few things, and I want to bring it back to real estate and business a little bit. Relationships and private money. What mindset or communication strategies do you use to build and maintain trust with private investors?
Be as authentic as humanly possible. It's not about being the savviest business guy, There's a saying out there. It's if you're, betting on horses, you bet on the jockey, not the horse. So you're the jockey. You got to be just an honest, integral individual. So to build trust, you just be yourself. It's not about trying too hard, right? You ever be around somebody and they're just trying to sell you? See, everybody wants to do business. Everybody wants to buy, but nobody wants to be sold, right? Everybody wants to do things, but nobody wants to be talked into it. So you just got to work on yourself, be as authentic as you possibly can, be yourself. And if you're not vibing with somebody, don't feel so attached. It's okay. I've had to fire lenders, and there's been some lenders who fired me. We just weren't a good fit for each other, and that's perfectly fine because there's endless amount of money out there. Don't get so attached. You know how that needy vibe is? That the needy vibe is going to repel money and clients from you. It's like when we were single men and we're dating. We all got the friend.
You don't want to be thirsty.
Or maybe it's me. Yeah, this is me. I was that guy, right? So needy, desperate. It just repels opportunities from you. It's the one who is competent, with or without it, who's actually going to get anything that they want. So be confident, know what you're talking about, and that's what I would say.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
All right, quick pause in the conversation. I want to highlight something that fits right into this real estate world that we're always talking about. Styer Hospitality Co. brings together a full-service furnished rental management company and a real estate brokerage under one roof. So owners, investors, and agents get reliable support from people who know the industry. Everything we do is built on real systems, trained staff, and the same level of oversight that I expect in my brokerage office. That gives owners a consistent process, steady communication, and a guest experience that feels intentional instead of reactive. If you own a property and feel like it could be performing better as a shorter midterm rental, or you're spending too much time handling guests and unit turnovers, that is exactly where we can step in. We manage the entire operation so the property supports your goals rather than adding more stress to your week. And for the agents listening, we are a resource that you can plug directly into your business. If you have clients trying to keep their low interest rate on their current home while moving up, we can model the numbers and outline the strategy and run the property if they choose to convert it into a furnished rental. And if you have clients who need temporary housing during a transition, we can help place them quickly and keep the process smooth for everyone involved. If you want to see what your property could do in the short or midterm space, or you want a management partner you can rely on, head to StyerHospitalityCo.com, or you can reach out to me directly through the site and we can talk through your goals, run projections, and build a clear plan. Now let's get back to the conversation. So one thing that I think is really important in growth and development is just continuous learning. And I tell people that I am always improving. I'm always looking to learn because you're never going to know it all.
Correct.
You know? So for you and your success as an investor, how do you incorporate continuous learning? How do you encourage that mindset in a team or your community?
Great question. And this is something I'm passionate about. It's one of my personal core values. It's one of our company core values. It is 4% of your day needs to be invested. It's just 1 hour a day.
Okay.
1 hour out of 24 hours is 4%. That's all we're asking for here, right? But I'm also a coach. So I don't want any of the people that I coach to surpass me. I feel obligated to continue to learn so I have more to share so I can help build other people. It is arguably one of the most important things. Every single morning I do personal development. I got a good little trick for anybody. So we've all been part of personal development, courses and stuff. Have you ever been told like, you should write down 10 things you're grateful for? That's such a funny one, right? And what happens is it tends to just be this chore and it tends to be this thing that drives no emotion because we start journaling or writing things that are unconditionals. Like, I'm grateful for the sun. I'm grateful for my wife. Well, of course you are. That's like unconditional. A better question to journal about, to really start to do the work that we're talking about, the personal development, is every day, instead of writing down these surface level junk, unconditional, write down, where am I feeling apprehension in my life? Fear is too strong of a word. Instead of where am I feeling fear? Well, it doesn't sink in as much because your subconscious is like, well, I'm not really afraid of anything. I'm not going to get attacked by a lion today. I'm cool, right? But where am I feeling some apprehension? That's more absorbable. Well, maybe it's a conversation that I've been putting off. Maybe it's a comp plan that I got to change this person's compensation plan. Maybe it's a tough conversation with an investor. Typically, as business people, the apprehension that we feel have to do with conversations.
Right.
So what am I putting off? And if we can can attack that instead of a gratitude list, that's going to drive more emotion. And when you attack that or just journal about it and put a spotlight on it, now when that comes up, you've kind of already faced it a little bit, right?
I like to script those calls. I like to prepare through, and I'll often work with like ChatGPT or something and explain what the situation is and where my apprehension lies and strategize so that when that conversation happens, I've already kind of worked through it.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's such an important thing to do. So personal development by far and wide is a major part of my life. And I mean, if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah,
it is
completely.
so key. And it is so key for all of us to be the best versions of ourselves. If we're going to be the best husbands, if we're going to be the best fathers, if we're going to be the best business people, none of this matters unless we are the best version of ourselves. But then the second part is having the courage to put yourself out there. There's so many incredible people, probably people listening and watching this, and they are killing it with the core four. They are so dialed in. The apprehension is the thing to put themselves out there. Go take that step.
Yep.
Put yourself out there because you have no idea. You are going to help other people. Your journey will help other people. But having the courage to put yourself, come on, you know as well as I do, there's way more consumers out there than there are creators.
Yes.
But I believe there's a creator inside of each one of us. And when we are working on ourselves, I just encourage us to, yes, work on yourself, but then put it out there. Get out there and share it.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
One thing I also always like to ask guests is, when you got started. So you got started in the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you know things that you don't know now. You know things now that you didn't know then.
Okay.
What's one piece of advice that you might give yourself, if you could, either financial, mental, strategic, when you got into real estate?
Easy one. Easy. Be a collaborator instead of a competitor.
Love that. The abundance mindset.
Oh my gosh. And it comes with maturity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it comes with getting my teeth kicked in more times than I've taken some major L's.
Yeah.
I just told you, paying off debt, it's crazy, right? All of this is unnecessary. Like when I was younger, it was this fierce competitor. And I think it's like an immature behavior mindset thing. It's like, oh, I got to beat everybody else. No, you don't. There's so much opportunity, right? I mean, there's so much opportunity to work with people. You just got to be open to that.
Yeah.
Instead of this like ego, this like, oh, I'm going to beat this person. It's like, no, where could we align? Where can we genuinely share? I'm having a meeting after this at 1:00. I already told you. And this person's core competency, they're amazing at lead generation.
Yeah.
And my core competency is lead conversion.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get them on the phone and close them. Right.
Yeah.
And then my team's core competency is lead fulfillment, taking it to the closing table.
Yeah.
So an old version of me is like, I got to beat my head against the wall and figure out this lead generation so I can beat everybody. No, I'm having a meeting at 1:00. It's like, let's do business together.
Right.
Bring them over here. I'll convert them all for us and take them to the closing table. We're all going to make money together.
Yeah.
So be a collaborator instead of this competitor.
Could not have said it better myself. And the way that I say it is the abundance over the scarcity.
Yeah.
There is so much out there.
It's more than we can even fathom.
Right.
It's truly, truly that way.
And I think that you're right. Maturity has a piece in that because I think a lot of people, especially if they get started in real estate, you see other people succeeding and you're like, oh, I got to take a piece of what they've got. No, you don't. You really don't. There is so much out there. There's so much success out there for everybody to go out and achieve and define. And those are the people you want to be collaborating with.
100%.
Those are the people who have been there, done that. They've sat exactly where you sit now. They can be a help. And people that are successful genuinely oftentimes are happy to help.
Oh, without a doubt. Especially if you approach them with a give first mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if I go, where are your needs?
I've built great relationships because people came to me and said, can you help me learn this business? Here's what I have to offer. And I said, well, let's find a way that we can both be successful together.
I get hit up quite a bit from the Cream Group and different things like that. And one time there was a guy, like I get pitched everything. Mm-hmm. Everybody's getting pitched. There was a guy, he was like a web developer kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he went on his own and built me a whole website. I bought a domain for you. I got all these things and I did all this stuff for you. And yeah, you got my attention. All right, I'll sit down with you. Holy cow,
Yeah.
Yeah. And it didn't end up going anywhere. But that level of give first mentality,
Mm-hmm.
be willing to invest in yourself by doing something for somebody else. And something I would piggyback here is when it comes to be a collaborator instead of a competitor is destroy the whole instant gratification thing. And this goes back to Facebook groups. There's many different Facebook groups. They're popping up all the time. The reason the cream has done what it has done is because it has grown organically. We do like a little kind of survey before we let people in. There's a lot of groups out there. Their main focus is I want to get as many people as I possibly can. Just open doors, get everybody in there. And then it's just everybody, posting spammy like little memes like, hey, here's my snow plowing business. Here's my dry cleaning business. It is what it is. So we don't allow that. We've always made sure everybody's real. It's not a bot. It's not somebody who's in LA who's just, wanting to join groups. Everybody's local. Everybody's real. So be okay growing slower in business, in your relationships, in your health. It's not about the magic pill. You got to do the work every single day.
Yeah. And that kind of leads us into where I want to transition next and some of the biggest misconceptions and realities that investors face today. What would you say a big misconception or maybe a myth about real estate investing that you hear from newcomers, and how do you challenge or correct them based on your experiences?
It's a great question. So which aspect would you say, just somebody brand new?
Yeah, a newcomer that wants to get into real estate. Say you 20 years ago, 25 years ago.
Okay. Well, not necessarily me. So here's the thing, because I wasn't part of what I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
I had a knack for it and I was just ready to go. But what I see in my students and people, I've met so many amazing people. They got tons of resources. They got money for marketing. They could do all this. They have fear of talking on the phone.
Yeah.
It's
Most people don't want to talk on the phone.
It's the truth though, right?
Yeah.
Like with real estate. John, you're in real estate business. This is a phone game that we're playing here. I don't care if you're talking to a lender. I don't care if you're talking to another agent. I don't care if you're talking to a buyer or a seller. It doesn't matter. A contractor. You gotta be willing to talk on the phone. There's no free lunch. I mean, at some point, and here's another big one. Sometimes people they have money, but they still have a lot of fear. They're afraid to do this. They like, I'm going to just hire an acquisitions guy. I'm just going to hire someone to do this thing that I'm afraid of. You're going to crash and burn. That's called scaling inappropriately. If you're an entrepreneur, you at least got to get in the ring and get your nose bloodied up.
Right.
At least know that you really suck at it. Right? At least be in there before you try to outsource things that you're just too afraid of. You just got to get in there.
Yeah. So talking on the phone, figure it out.
Courage, have the courage to make offers, man. To have the courage to pick up the phone.
Yeah.
If you're buying houses, so I'm a coach of wholesale real estate. We're constantly making offers, and I teach other people to do this. People generate leads. They're willing to do the direct mail. They're willing to do the pay-per-click. They're willing to do the online ads, but they're just afraid to just pick up the phone and follow up, and that's what it is. And we have a lot of students too that say, hey, I'll generate the leads. Will you just do the leads, do the deals with me or for me? And we'll like work something out, but it's like, this isn't necessary. You could do it yourself. You're afraid. And you know what people will do? And you've probably seen this in your career as well. People will do all of these other little tasks. I'm going to straighten up my office. I'm going to work on the spreadsheet.
Because they're working.
Yes. This is not revenue generating activities.
Right.
We must focus on revenue generating activities.
Lead generation is everything.
Lead generation, talking to sellers, talking to buyers, talking to lenders. That is real estate investing 101. It's not, yes, this stuff's important. I'm going to tinker around with the spreadsheets and stuff like that. RJ Pepino, my business partner, he's got a great quote. He's like, just take imperfect action. Just get in there.
Move forward sloppy.
Yes. Fail forward. The faster you fail and actually be willing to keep going, the better off you're going to be.
Incremental improvements are improvements.
It's the way, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Completely. Well, you've been around long enough. You've seen market shifts. You've seen change in interest rates and inflation. How has your strategy evolved over the years? And what does risk management look like in today's climate for you?
I think we're in a great marketplace here in Columbus, Ohio. I believe we're insulated. I was just reading on Yahoo Finance, these big price corrections where it's the same usual suspects, man. Austin, San Francisco, the coast. We don't deal with that as much. We don't see the massive spikes, even though we've seen insane appreciation. The whole country has. That's what happens when you print trillions and trillions of dollars. If you own assets, they go up. Right. And that's just kind of how it goes. But I love our marketplace. So when it comes to risk management, if you're raising money for assets in Central Ohio, you're in a great spot. I mean, this is if you know how to find good deals. I love our marketplace. What is my forecast over the next 12 to 24 months? I don't see a big slew of inventory hitting the market. So as long as the supply is relatively scarce, as it has been, and probably will continue to be for the foreseeable future, it's going to keep stability in the market.
I tell people all the time, we're so lucky that we are here.
I love it here.
Yeah.
These Midwest cities, but there's still growth and there's still industry.
Yeah.
We got,
cost of living isn't crazy.
No, Fortune 500 companies. We got a major university. So it's sort of risk management. This is a Columbus podcast. Be grateful. It doesn't get better than this, guys. It's a phenomenal place to live, do business, and I'm super grateful to be here.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your personal strategy. How do you manage or avoid burnout? Is that something that you experience? There's so much demand and time and energy and just emotional resilience.
I think kind of going back to what we were talking about, avoiding burnout in business is if you can focus in on your core competency. Meaning my core competency is on the phone. Okay. We're going back to the MCI. I'm the guy, man. I'm on the phone with these sellers converting these things. Now, as a business owner, you're going to have to wear multiple hats. This is part of being a business. But if you can focus in on the aspect of the business that is your thing, and you can do that every day, I'm grateful. But I've been in business many years. I mean, there's so much that I have done and kind of still do. Oh, I'm not good at this at all.
I know.
The banking, the tag. Oh, I got to get a 1099 to this person. I still got to deal with the stuff. I'm a talker, man. I could sit here and rap with you for literally
Me too.
all day. So I'm that guy.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, there are going to be things that you're going to need to do, but if you can really focus in and then build a team around your core competency, you're going to get excited because especially me on the phone with the sales thing, every call is a little bit different. All these stories that I get to hear. I mean, I'm on the phone every single day with sellers.
Yep.
So it's not a lot of burnout with what I'm doing, but I had to build it that way.
Yeah.
Built around what I'm genuinely good at. You want to be good at it too, because then you celebrate wins and you feel good. But I genuinely enjoy what I do.
Yeah, me too. And I'm right there with you in that. Like I can build relationships and talk to people all day, but some of the other stuff that is important and it's essential to operating a business, I'm not going to be the best fit for it. And building a team for me has been, and you're not going to have a team right away.
No,
so you've got to get through that.
Correct.
There's just no other option.
Nope.
But when you're able to scale it up, to build a team, to find the right people in the right seats who can handle this stuff better than you can, there's going to be one or two things that you are the best at. But all that other stuff, finding the team, that's what really can unlock real growth and scalability.
And the number one reason businesses fail, what do you think the number one reason businesses fail is?
I think it's probably people.
I think it's scaling too quickly.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to get these, and you see this with, major publicly traded companies too. It's like they misuse capital because we're going to grow, scale, and then boom, the bubble pops.
Yep.
That's how it goes. Same with our small businesses. Because the people are afraid or they just don't want to do, I don't like doing this, so I'm going to hire this out. Well, that's you scaling. Okay, you're putting somebody in this role. Another terrible thing, and I admire what you've done with the team and whatnot, and maybe you can speak on this, but you know what always fails is like, I'm going to hire this person, and then we're going to kind of figure out this position together.
Yeah. Yes.
That just leads them to failure and you to failure. You got to have it together.
I learned that lesson.
Yes.
It took learning that lesson to really dial in building a team through intention. And that's creating a job description.
Yes.
Creating KPIs for that role and hiring the right person for that role and saying, okay, here it is. This is what you're doing. Do it.
And the reason you were able to document this role, create these KPIs, scope of work, the whole deal, is because you bit the bullet and did it yourself, even if you didn't want to.
Yep.
It is so important for all of us listening to this. I don't care if you're starting a business, creating an investment portfolio, or getting your butt in shape. You've got to take the action regardless of how you feel. You can't wait until you feel motivated and today's the day I'm going to do it. You will be waiting forever. Act in spite of how you feel. Because guess what's going to happen? When you overcome this adversity, when you do the 1099s, John, when you have the tough conversation that you're apprehensive about, now you're going to feel good.
Yeah.
And now you are telling yourself and you are affirming, I'm a winner. Like I just overcame something, these small wins. Then you start to trust yourself. Then you start to like yourself. Then you start to love yourself. Then you start to feel deserving. And now you're dangerous in a good way.
Yeah.
When you feel deserving, you genuinely will be ready to receive. But it's so many of us, I mean, we're born into the number one limiting belief. You know what the number one limiting belief is?
Tell me.
I'm not enough. We're born into I'm not good enough.
Imposter syndrome.
Yes, I'm not good enough. The way we're going to overcome this major limiting belief and create our desired reality and live the life of our dreams is by doing the things that we don't necessarily want to do, acting in spite of the way that we feel, and then overcoming this adversity. It is all overcoming adversity. We feel proud of ourselves, right? And we're going to be able to build from there. But you got to stand in the fire and do it.
You got to do it.
Do the thing.
It's never going to happen if you're not going to do it.
This is true.
Yeah. Well, as we work to close out, let's look ahead. Your dream building, you have impact in our market. What's still on the horizon? If you had no constraints, capital, credit, time, what kind of real estate empire would you build in Columbus and why?
I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing, So I am super inspired to really run with this wholesaling and novation thing. I'm really into that. We're still acquiring some rentals. We just picked one up in Toledo. You know what I'm going for the rental portfolio thing? And my goal is just 1 or 2 a month. I'm not looking to build some massive portfolio. In fact, the only reason that I'm acquiring rental properties is to soften the tax burden, because the other side of my business that I'm most excited about is a highly taxable business.
Yeah.
So that's the game I'm playing right now. But I am very inspired and I'm building it on YouTube, man. I got this Sell House Ohio. I want to be the number one house buying company, the number one quote unquote we buy houses company in the entire state of Ohio. But I want to be the guy that is completely not sleazy and slimy, meaning we're talking about wholesale real estate. I'm talking about buying things at discounts. I'm talking about buying stuff in probate. People inherited it, foreclosures. It could be looked at as a used car salesman, pawn shop type of business. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But I want to be the one that did it right and did it formally. Speaking of which, I have a webinar tonight at 6 p.m. with none other than Madam Superintendent Daphne Hawk for the state of Ohio real estate. I want to stay aligned with those at the very top and let everybody know what I'm doing and exactly how I'm doing it. Today, guess what we're talking about? New laws that has passed and how we can abide by these laws. I want to do everything by the book, but just be the best.
Yeah.
I'd rather be the best than be the biggest, but I feel like if I focus on just being the best, naturally, as far as the amount of deals, the amount of revenue that we're doing, the growth will come.
Perfect. Well, I love that ambition and that idea. And I think that, based on, the conversations we have, I think that you're going to find success in that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This is a great conversation. This is going to air after your webinar. If someone was interested in going back and finding that, is that going to be something that maybe is going to be online?
Yes. So we have a school community. It's school.com. That's SKOOL.com/real estate coaching.
Perfect.
Or hop in the cream. And I will share this. A lot of times people say, I tried to get in, and we will not even see your entry request if you don't fill out the prerequisite questions. So it doesn't even show up for us. So if you want to get in the Facebook group, if you're not there already, it's The Cream Real Estate on Facebook, and just send me a DM. I'd be happy to work with you.
Well, that was my next question. What would be the best way for someone to connect with you?
Facebook is Dave Payerchin, but Instagram is good at The Real Dave P.
Perfect.
And then on YouTube, I know you're on YouTube. We should collaborate, because we got over 15,000 subs on YouTube.
Perfect.
Check us out. It is The Cream Real Estate.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for being on. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, likewise.
That wraps up another episode of Columbus Brick by Brick, where we uncover the people, projects, and ideas shaping the future of our city. A huge thank you to our guests for sharing their insights and contributing to the ongoing story of Columbus. If you enjoyed today's conversation, please be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and share this episode with someone who'd love learning more about our community. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Columbus Brick by Brick, and visit us anytime at columbusbrickbybrick.com for more episodes and updates. This is Columbus Brick by Brick, where every brick has a story, and we're here to tell it. See you next time.